got another book to review. This should be the one. Nora Gedgaudas. If you want to do a keto diet and actually live past 40, this should be the one. She's all into longevity, low protein. I believe this is the key. So I'll read this book, we'll find some secrets, and let's talk about it.
I am a vegan, you are a loser.
In the intro, she said something very interesting, how we're all brainwashed against fat. We have been for the last 50 years. It's like saturated fat and cholesterol that causes heart disease. We're all gonna die. I still have it. I'm trying to overcome that fear. And she's saying we're slowly coming around to it. People are waking up, realizing that's not the case, but we're not quite there yet. She's saying people are okay, fish fat is okay, the omega-3s in tiny amounts. She's trying to put her stamp down here, saying saturated fat in large amounts is what we need. It's important. So I like that. Let's see if she's true. I gotta dock some points for you, Nora. She said she followed the heart-healthy diet, low-fat, cooked in vegetable oils. You just debunked yourself. You can't have a diet low in fat that cooks everything in oil. I just find this so often, people are oh, we've been following low fat for years, chicken breast, the low fat yogurt. It's not low fat. An actual low fat is what I was doing for the past 11 months before I switched. That's actual fruits and veggies and starch. Actual low fat plant foods. In my opinion, if you're gonna claim that a low fat diet didn't work for you, you have to have tried the either starch solution or the fruit based raw vegan hippie way. Those are what you do. If I was to do it, I would do one meal a day, starch based, with a little bit of beef liver every other day. Thriving so hard. So she's telling a story we were caveman, we evolved from apes, and we started eating meat and fat, and now we're so smart. I don't believe the whole thing. We were made by aliens from the Andromeda galaxy. They injected DNA in a little petri dish, and now we're here. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Why aren't lions super intelligent then? If all the meat and fat was what did it, I think it was just some sort of alien intervention. It's the only thing that makes sense. The Roman giants from Greenland made us, and now we have to make them proud. But in my opinion, this is the least compelling reason to eat meat and fat, because our caveman ancestors did it in the Ice Age. I don't care. Tell me it's healthy now, and show me people getting healthy on it and living to 500 years old. Then we got something. She says the minerals in grains are not available at all due to phytic acid, and it's not entirely true. I'm not a fan of grains. I don't know if it's because of the phytic acid. I think it's because of the fiber. They're just kind of stabby, but when you soak and cook grains, most of the phytic acid is removed, so you're going to absorb some minerals. They're still a poor farmer's food. I don't know why I'm trying to disagree with her. I don't like grains either. But just to be accurate, you soak and sprout grains and then cook them. Even Weston A. Price, which she's a part of that foundation, they know that's how you make grains. Ferment them too if you could. Yum. I love that she puts so much emphasis on eating grass-fed meats and only animals that are pasture-raised and happy, and she says don't even buy grain-fed feedlot meat, it's terrible for you and the animals and the environment. She just it's so different to Sean Baker's book where you just eat meat, eat a patty at fast food place. It's meat. You can eat it. You're gonna die following that guy, where she cares. This is the book to read if you want information. What a book. She says any fish caught in the northern hemisphere, unsafe. I'm iffy on the fish too, the mercury, all the PCBs and stuff. I still eat it because I feel we need some omega-3s, even though it's in the grass-fed beef. I'm eating that beef suet, it's got it, but I feel we need some salmon, but it might not be safe ever. So here's her 5 principles. Number 1, value the fats that your ancestors ate, so just animal fats and some plant fats, coconuts, olives, macadamia nuts, and avocados. Number 2 is eliminate sugar, pretty much everything, fruit juice, grains, starches, all the refined stuff, even whole fruits, but only you can have some berries, 3 berries at midnight, and some nuts you're allowed. Shift the ratios of dietary macronutrients so you get most of your calories from fats, tiny amount of sugar from greens, including cultured varieties. I don't do well with that histamine response. Number 4, choose foods which humans are most genetically well adapted to, most natural, and enhance your. Number 5, enhance detoxification by eating an abundance of vegetables. Pure water is allowed, and some high quality supplements when needed. It sounds like a pretty decent plan. Lots of fat, whole foods, remove sugar, and don't go carnivore, keeping plants that you can digest if you can for their phytonutrient abilities. This chapter is largely about sugar versus fat as a fuel source. That's kind of what my whole channel is based on, my obsession. Oh, let's go high carb. No, high fat's superior. And she says fat burns cleaner than carbs, and I've heard the opposite. Oh, carbs are the clean burning fuel. I don't understand it. How can we not know? There has to be a definitive answer. Like, if you know Scientology and the Krebs cycle and all that, I think sugar produces more free radicals, but then the high carb foods have more antioxidants, balancing effect. Anyone? But she says burning fat reduces glycation, so you'll age slower. Fat burning improves mitochondrial efficiency, and eating red meat is magic, especially lamb, because it has carnitine, and then you become much better at burning fat. Why do I make all these motions? She's talking about how great ketosis is, and she says you should be able to get into ketosis unless you have adrenal insufficiency. That scares me. Like, doesn't that just say that we need our adrenals to be pumping to use the ketones? Maybe that's why people have keto eyes. It weakens the adrenal dark bags. Do I have? And what else? Inability to produce enough cortisol. So you need high functioning adrenal glands just pumping out the cortisol to be in ketosis. That sounds scary. That doesn't sound good. Oh boy. She has a list of all the benefits of fat burning. Easier weight loss without hunger or cravings. Stabilized neurological functioning in the brain, making you less susceptible to migraines, panic attacks, mood swings, and seizures. Long-lasting stable energy that your body and brain can use all day long, even in the absence of regular meals. Anti-inflammatory effect, protection of the brain from hypoxia, low oxygen flow, so it drives oxygen to the brain. Medical medium said the opposite. Who's telling the truth? Increased blood flow to the brain, so that should help with hair loss. Do it. Protection of lean tissue mass. Confirmed. Improved sleep. Increased mitochondrial efficiency. Reduced blood pressure. Improved immune function. Healthier skin. Reduced blood sugar issues. Better hemoglobin A1C. Improved thyroid efficiency. That's funny because a lot of people say keto just destroys your thyroid, makes it weak, but no, it's more efficient. It's laying down, and then it works better from laying down position. We'll see. Improved cardiovascular markers. A rise in HDL, reduction in small particle LDL, lower triglyceride. I don't know, my LDL usually shoots the hell up on carnivore and high-fat vegan, so we'll see. I'll test my blood soon. Possible reduction in cancer risk? Possible. Anti-aging effects with improved cellular regeneration and DNA repair. So, a lot of supposed benefits. Some of them might be true, others not. Okay, we got some interesting stuff here with protein. You know that I've always been saying don't eat much protein. It's because of people like her that look at the science for longevity and health. Most of the paleo diet authors are just like, you can get buff and strong, and I want to know, will I not die when I'm 71? So according to science anything you eat over your protein threshold, which according to her is pretty low, it's like 0.8 grams per kilogram. Anything you consume over that, 36% of that protein is turned into glucose. That's bad news. When you eat too much protein, the nitrogen is turned into ammonia and urea, which is toxic to the kidneys and liver. So it's just a burden. You do not want to go over. You want to get enough to maintain the guns. Those don't look very good. When more than 50% of calories consumed come from lean protein, you surpass the physiological protein ceiling, the rabbit starvation, and it leads to possible risk for cancer and accelerated aging. That ain't good. These leathery mother F's in the movies you see, just wrinkled like, what's his name? Michael Keaton. Great actor. In that movie, Birdman, fantastic movie. But man, what has he done? That adrenochrome running out, that's gotta be bad news. She says fats help offset the protein, so like never just eat lean meat and broccoli like the bodybuilders sometimes do with chicken breast, white rice, and terrible. You always want to add fat. It helps offset the terrible things about protein. Eating too much protein can lead to hyperammonemia, a buildup of ammonia, and within a couple weeks that can lead to weakness, diarrhea, severe debilitation, heart abnormalities, and even death. Just a couple of weeks. That's what rabbit starvation is. You eat too much protein for too long, you're going down. She says protein's important to build neurotransmitters and hormones, but don't go over that threshold, and it seems like 0.8 grams. Sometimes I do 1 gram per kilogram just because I'm so unbelievably strong. I feel like I need to do that to get my one arm pull-up. We ain't doing it up 0.8. It ain't happening, Nora. But this means that protein to energy ratio guy is going to kill everybody in his path, and they're all going to have leather face skin and age rapidly, dying when they're 90 when they're only 76. And again, I love that she's just only eat high quality, fully pastured meats. Like never buy a factory farmed animal, and I never do. It's always organic. And since you're not eating too much protein, it's cheap. You're getting mostly fat, which is also organic but cheap. So it's just the protein. Relax on that protein. Now here's something fascinating. I don't know if it's true, but she's got science to prove it. I trust Nora. We all know that caloric restriction, in the monkeys at least, it makes you age far less rapidly. So eat less, live longer is the basic tool, but the vegans were saying it's methionine restriction. That's the only reason. So eat as much carbs as you want. It's the protein. What she's saying, and there's studies to prove this, it's the sugar and the protein limiting that causes caloric restriction to allow us to live longer, and fat is a free fuel. She's saying you can eat as much fat as you want to satiation. Be real, you'll get nauseous if you overeat, so it's not like, oh yay, I get to eat. Good luck throwing it up. But that's so interesting. It's decreased insulin and the inhibition of mTOR, that mammalian target of rapamycin. And no, I don't know what it means. All I know is eat too much protein, you stimulate mTOR, which does allow us to grow muscle, but it also ages you in some way. Proven by science. You know, there's a bunch of people right now who believe so much in caloric restriction, they're just doing it and eating so much less, and they're Skeletor looking freaks. There's documentaries on it, and they look so terrible. They only eat the skins of apples and shit. Like, they're ridiculous. They're like, oh, there's too much sugar there. All the nutrients are in the peel. You're a moron. And while you could just eat as much fat as you want, you're never hungry. It's just the carbs and the protein you gotta limit. What a fan. I'm learning so much. Wow, Nora. Coming from Sean Baker's book, I'm just like, oh, Jesus. She's saying you never want to eat more than 21 grams of protein in a meal, but I eat 1 meal a day. So even though I'm following her limits on protein, I'm eating it all at once, and so I'm stimulating mTOR, aging rapidly by the second. Oh boy. I love 1 meal a day though. I love it so much. I've been working out all day and reading and feeling fantastic. I can't wait to eat soon, but I love this 1 meal a day. So Nora, tell me it's okay. Tell me it's okay. She seems to be a pretty big fan of bone broth and fermented veggies. You gotta be careful with the histamine response. I get that from fermented foods and a bit from bone broth, depending on where those bones came from, how fresh they are. So I might get back into the bone broth though. I think that'd be beneficial for healing the gut. Fermented veggies. I might try it now that I have probiotics and I'm fermenting the nut yogurts. Could be good. I like how she doesn't have an 80-20 rule where it's like you follow this diet 80% of the time and then relax. I've always thought like the healthiest diet should be followed strictly. Like you're doing this for the health benefits. You don't cheat. Why would you cheat? I'm having Doritos at lunch. Like with ketosis, you can't just have sugar sometimes and you get kicked out for a couple days and you don't feel the magic and you get confused. Like, why don't I feel good? Oh yeah, damn donuts. She says gallbladder attacks are not caused by high-fat diets. She could be right. She says it's high-carb diets that do it. In the sense that if you don't use it, you lose it type of scenario. Like you never eat fat, so your gallbladder gets lazy, doesn't produce the bile, and then you eat a high-fat meal and it's panicking. It's like, oh my god, stones, oh no. I'm just telling you straight up, sometimes I do get that pain in the liver area. A gallbladder-like attack. It's not severe or anything, but sometimes it's just like, I might have a stone or two in there. I'm afraid to do the flush. I tried it once. I did flush some things, but I debunked it. It makes you nauseous. I hate feeling nauseous. It's the worst feeling. I just ate my meal. I'm tired. She has some digestive tips in here. One was supplement HCl and ox bile. I do that. I take the Now enzymes, Now super enzymes. Links are down below if you want it. I find they help. They definitely help. Foods rich in EPA and DHA. Why would that help? I don't know. Beet kvass. I think that's fermented beets, like beet kraut. Beets raise HCl and improve bile flow. But they're high in carbs, so you have to ferment them. And that's what that is, I think. Also eating foods like garlic, onions, turmeric, and daikon radish. There's a yummy one. That big white one. Tastes like nothing. It has no flavor. It's a dumb vegetable. You waste your money. But if it helps. Also lecithin. That's something I haven't taken in years. I used to. The sunflower lecithin. Don't take the soy lecithin. That's bad GMO shit. But it emulsifies fat, so it should help with your fatty meals. I might get some. She says beta-carotene from plants cannot be converted to true vitamin A reliably enough. I don't know, I see vegans thriving out there, kind of, some of them. They're not getting any. She says, like, you cannot get vitamin A. I don't like absolute statements like that. Like, obviously, some vegans are not dropping dead. They're making vitamin A from something. There is one guy that keeps messaging me saying vitamin A is a toxin, not a vitamin. Oh boy. It's not just some random guy either. He's super intelligent. He wrote a book about it. He's like convinced that vitamin A is the cause of all our problems. So it's funny, you read this book, it's like vitamin A is everything. You get as much as possible, and he's like, no. This section's mostly about the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K2 in there. And she says vitamin D, your level should be 40 to 60 NGs per DL. Last time I got mine tested, I was at 44, so I'm on the low end of her scale, but I was super deficient. I forget what it was before that. I'll post it right there. It was like 23 or something, like super low, so that's important. I've been supplementing quite a bit, maybe 5 to 8,000 units a day, and then in summer, if I go out in the sun, I'll just take 1 or 2,000. I'll still take some, but not the full dose. Get some sun. When it comes to vitamin K, there's K1, which you can get from green leafy veggies, but K2 is the mysterious one. Apparently it's highest in duck and goose liver. I haven't seen that. I've seen chicken liver and beef liver, but purely grass-fed animals, that's where you find it. Grass-fed ghee, I've tried it back in the day. I think it gave me cramps. I'm worried about it. Even the ghee with no casein whatsoever irritates my soul. She says another source is emu oil. I've seen that in the beauty section, but never like edible. What the hell is that? An oil of a bird? An ostrich-like bird oil. And some people think fermented veggies can be a source of K2, but she says only if it was cultured with a specific culture. So your regular sauerkraut does not have K2. Natto does. The soy sticky stuff. You remember I ate that in Thailand. That was disgusting. What's it gonna be like? Oh my god. Y'all wanna try this after? No.
Oh god.
But yeah, best sorts are meats and organs from 100% fully pastured animals, fish roe, shellfish. They're bottom feeders, don't do it. Insects. Yummy. Crickets are kinda yummy. They're sharp. Be careful. Cultured ghee from grass-fed animals, emu oil, emu meat. Full-fat dairy products, if you tolerate them, which you don't. Be real with yourself. From what I've researched, we can turn K1 into K2, but maybe some of us can't. There's different precursors that we're lacking or something, but we should be able to. So eating enough leafy greens could theoretically give you enough K2, but it's nice to have some grass-fed sources. From the cow you murdered, you're murdered. She says you might want to supplement vitamin E because some fats can go rancid, and vitamin E protects from that. So if you're on a high-fat diet, it's kind of a safety measure, but be careful from the synthetic ones. If it starts with DL, alpha tocopherol, quote me on it, then don't take it. DL, that's synthetic. That's why I thought I was onto something on the high-fat vegan diet, because I was getting all these high vitamin E nuts like almonds, the nut yogurts. And I was like, oh, that's pure, just protection. No glycation from the sugar, plus all this vitamin E. Life hack confirmed. Interesting here about the nutrients that are much higher in grass-fed beef compared to corn-fed. Much higher in vitamin C, E, beta-carotene, enhanced amounts of CLA and omega-3s. And she says that grain feeding can rapidly deplete these nutrients in just 7 days. So a lot of the grass-fed meat is fed corn at the end to fatten them up. That ruins it. It's got to be grass-finished. Grass-finished? What the hell happened? An interesting thing about protein, she says if you feel fatigued, have brittle nails, you're losing your hair, or you've stopped menstruating, I never stop, or you feel continually hungry, that could be a sign of protein deficiency, but she says it's more likely that you're just not digesting the protein you are eating instead of not getting enough. So all about the HCl increase. You're getting enough protein, you're just not digesting it. Now hold on now. I'm at the protein calculator, protein math section. She says 0.8 grams per kilogram for most people, but if you're an elite athlete like I am, who can do push-ups, she says go 1.5 grams per kilo. Oh, I thought I was being, what's the word, ambitious? With 1 gram, that's what I'm shooting for, 1.5. That's a lot. Should I do that? I am an elite athlete. Look at these. Look at that arm. Imagine what it could do. We'll see. I've been around 1 gram per kilo for like 2 weeks maybe. I'm still working out. I'm still making gains, so I seem to be having enough. But if not, I'll bump it up to 1.5. I wouldn't mind. It's so hard when you're eating meat and this little amount of protein. It's like this much meat. Tiny little bit. It's like any little piece you buy, you gotta cut it in 3. Freeze 2/3 of it. I'm surprised she says things like nutritional yeast are okay. She's so high on quality. Everything, all her animals are pasture-raised, pet, and hugged and tickled at night. But nutritional yeast, it's so processed and it has MSG. There's some questionable things she allows. She does say never have regular salt. It's very inflammatory, but Himalayan or Celtic sea salt, you're good to go. So, good tips. The rest of the book is mainly just recipes, so you'll have to buy the book to read all these weird-ass recipes. She has pemmican, a power breakfast smoothie. What is that, a meat smoothie? That looks gross. Are you gonna make it? Ain't nobody got time for these. Larb wraps. Larb, the hell is that? I don't even want to know. And then she has a bunch of helpful resources, a bunch of websites where you can buy better quality food and just good resources, information about the primal diet, stuff like that. So it's a good book. It's a good book. I learned some things. It's a decent plan focused on high quality materials. Food isn't a material. So I'll leave a link down below if you want to get this book on Amazon. I highly recommend it. It's good. She's focused on health and longevity, whereas a lot of people are focused on just weight loss or superficial, although if you're focused on teenage girl skin, I want in. I want in on that plan. But yeah, it's a good book. I can recommend it. Low protein, although she confused me at the end. I read earlier in the book, she said 0.8 grams per kilogram. Some athletes might need 25% more than that. And then at the end, she was like, you can go up to 1.5 grams, which is like 50% more? It's almost double. 1.6 would be double. That's a lot. So I don't think you need to go that high. I've been making gains, slowly, barely. Does this light make everything worse? I put a little light there. Oh, we're so much more natural. Why did I do that? What a loser. As you can see, I changed my whole apartment around. I might do an apartment tour. Somebody asked for it. I sold one of my desks. The whole thing, 90% desks, this whole place, and now we have some space. Oh God, not as much as I thought. I'm gonna leave. Let me know what you thought of the book. Will you buy it? I don't really care. You already read it, basically. I read it for you. So you don't, if you want the recipes though, and the special resources, you thumb this video up. I read a book for you. I took weeks out of my life to read to you, like your parents did. I guess thumb it down. If you walk through doors backwards, and then the people that want to walk in after you, you stare at them. It's awkward. You're an awkward human being. You're not bringing joy to the planet by doing that. I hope you step in some slimy thing. Thanks for buying a Vegetable Conspiracies t-shirt and the book. Subscribe for more videos on